Lucid is dying and losing $500,000 for every car they sold last year. Imagine losing $500,000 on each car sold. This new EV company is about to go extinct, and the real reason behind why this is happening might make you never want to buy an electric vehicle again. While companies like Lucid, Ford, and General Motors are losing money on EVs, Tesla is destroying car makers while making their cars in China. Could Lucid close its doors? Are EVs made in China good for you? I'm going to tell you all about this crisis in just a few minutes. I promise not to waste a minute of your time. Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson just said that they are cutting down EV production because their cars are not selling. Now, before I tell you about the crisis, let us see where it all really began. Lucid came out in 2007 under the brand name Ativa. Initially, these guys were all about making batteries, but in 2016, they changed everything. They rebranded to Lucid Motors, which sounds way cooler and pretty much announced, hey, we're not just about batteries, we're jumping into making our own luxury electric cars. They made the sedan called the Lucid Air, which does 0 to 60 in under 2.5 seconds and goes over 500 miles on a single charge. Lucid didn't want to go against Tesla, but instead wanted to target luxury car makers like Porsche, Audi, and BMW. And get this, while Joe Biden is all in for EV companies like Lucid and Tesla, Donald Trump just called the entire EV industry a scam and gave some shocking statements against electric cars. But more on this in a couple minutes. Now, just when Lucid was grabbing the spotlight, their sales figures came out, revealing something that no car company has ever seen till date. Lucid was losing $500,000 on each car they sold. Yep, you heard that right, $500,000. So Lucid makes these super sleek electric cars, right? They're like the Rolls-Royce of EVs, super luxurious, and they come with a hefty price tag. But here's where it gets juicy. For every single car they sell, they're actually losing over $500,000. Can you believe that? Now, you'd think that selling these high-end cars would rake in the cash, but nope, it's been a struggle. It's gotten to the point where they're slashing prices like a clearance sale at your favorite store. Picture this. Their fancy Air Touring model, originally almost as pricey as a small house at $95,000, got its price tag cut down to $87,500. But wait, there's more. Lucid had planned to sell up to 10,000 cars this year, but things haven't been going as planned. They've had to dial back as they couldn't meet their goals, and also had to recall their EVs a few times due to safety issues. Despite these hurdles, Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson is like the captain of a ship in a storm, trying to steer clear of icebergs. He's out there saying they're opening new factories, launching cheaper car models, and they've got a new SUV, the Gravity, lined up for a big reveal. With 2 electric motors powering this beast, you've got all-wheel drive to take you anywhere you want to go. And here's the kicker. Lucid is claiming this marvel can go over 440 miles on a single charge. They're rolling out both 2 and 3-row versions of the Gravity. So whether you've got a big family, a lot of friends, or just need room for all your adventure gear, there's a Gravity for you. The 3-row version can fit 6 or 7 passengers, and all the seats fold flat, giving you tons of cargo space. Plus, there's a decent-sized front trunk where the engine would be if this were a gas guzzler, for even more storage. But it's not just about space. The Gravity's interior is where luxury meets tech. Picture this, a 34-inch curved digital display screen floating above the dashboard. Now, let's talk money. The Gravity's expected to start around $80,000, and prices can soar up to $250,000 depending on what you go for. There are several trims like the Pure, Touring, Grand Touring, Dream Edition, and the jaw-dropping Sapphire. Each step up adds more luxury, more power, or both. So whether you want the just getting by luxury or the I've arrived statement piece, there's a Gravity that fits the bill. Under the hood, well, where the hood would be if there were an engine there, the Gravity is no slouch. We're talking up to 1,234 horsepower for the top-of-the-line Sapphire model. Even the base model is expected to pack a respectable 480 horsepower. But until this car doesn't come out, Lucid is struggling big time. Let's talk numbers as they tell the true story. Last year, they managed to sell only 6,001 cars. Yeah, you heard that right. For a company that's been aiming for the stars, that number is more like a trip around the block. They built 8,428 cars, but only sold 6,001 of them. Imagine having all these shiny, state-of-the-art electric sedans and not finding enough people to buy them. In the last quarter of the year, they only made 2,391 cars and sold 1,734. That's down by 31% and 10% from the year before. Even after launching their cheapest car model, the Lucid Air Pure, and slashing its price to make it more appealing, they still couldn't hit their targets. But there is one company that might be hurting Lucid sales, and it's none other than Tesla. How, you ask? Well, by setting up shop in China, Tesla's not just tapping into a new market, it's accessing cheaper manufacturing, a vast supply chain, and potentially some hefty incentives offered by the Chinese government to electric vehicle or EV manufacturers. Here's where it gets juicy. Last year, while American auto giants like GM and Ford were playing a game of musical chairs with their factories, shutting them down sometimes for months due to a global chip shortage, Tesla was dancing its way to the bank. Despite this industry-wide crisis, Tesla managed to double its sales compared to the previous year. Elon Musk, Tesla's head honcho, recently made a splash in Shanghai, praising the workers at Tesla's Gigafactory there for their hard work and amazing results, especially during challenging times like the COVID-19 lockdowns. This factory isn't just any plant, it's a cornerstone of Tesla's global strategy, pumping out over half of Tesla's total global deliveries last year. Imagine that, a single factory in Shanghai driving Tesla's global dominance. And here's where the plot thickens. Tesla's move into China and its success there isn't just about making more cars, it's sending shockwaves through the automotive world, prompting concerns in the West about China's growing influence in the EV market. With Chinese companies like BYD, which by the way has overtaken Tesla as the world's largest EV producer, pumping out affordable electric cars, there's a growing fear that Western markets could be flooded with cheap Chinese EVs, undermining American and European car makers. Given how Tesla is doing everything in China, the US now relies on the country for over 80% of its EV mineral supplies. So what is the government doing about this? Let's start with Joe Biden's vision. Imagine Biden as the director of a movie where the future is all about electric vehicles, or EVs. He's not just suggesting a shift, he's pushing for a monumental change with policies that are shaking up the car industry like never before. His administration is laying down rules that are so strict on car pollution, they're practically forcing car makers to flood the street with EVs. We're talking about a future where 70% of new cars would be zero emissions. Right now, EVs are just 7%, but Biden is looking to turn that slice into the whole pie despite EV sales dipping lately. But here's the kicker. Biden's push for EVs isn't just about fighting climate change. Critics are raising eyebrows, questioning the real impact of EVs on everything, from the environment to the economy. They're pointing out how 80% of EV batteries are coming from China, and they're not happy about it. Despite all the fancy promises of cutting down carbon emissions and saving oil, a lot of folks are worried this EV push is going to backfire, especially on the wallet. Imagine forking over 70 grand for an EV when you could get a gas car or a hybrid for way less. Now, let's switch gears and talk about Donald Trump's take. Picture Trump as the underdog coach rallying the gas car team, ready to make a stand against the EV onslaught. Trump is looking at the same picture but sees a very different future. He's pointing fingers at Biden's EV push, saying it's a boon for China more than America. Trump is waving the flag for gas cars, warning that America's rush to electric could spell doom for automakers, with China waiting in the wings to dominate the market with its EVs. Trump's not just talking. He's proposing to strip away the incentives propping up the EV market, aiming to level the playing field for gas cars. He's concerned about the jobs at stake as the industry shifts towards less labor-intensive EV production. It's a classic tale of tradition versus transformation, with Trump betting on gas cars to keep America's automotive legacy alive. As for Lucid, their high-end pricing on a relatively newer product type might have been killing their sales. What do you think? Is the Lucid Air better than the Tesla Model S Plaid? Let me know in the comments below.